to Zoom. I don't know that, in the area that I'm going to be in is going to be very remote, and I don't know that it's going to have internet access.
I would be available Zoom, but it would have to be between 8 and 10 in the morning. Anything after that, it will not be available.
Do we
What
need
are we-
to
I mean,
have
do
a-
we need to,
do we need to have a special
So-
meeting
before
the
that?
29th, 30th, sometime?
I mean,
before you
I'm
guys-
willing, I can be here before.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be done on the 8th. It can be its own
by the 15th.
meeting, but yeah, before the 15th. It could be the
We will.
14th.
What about the last week of July?
Special meeting last week of July. What do we have?
29th, 30th, 31st, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you go into August.
Pick a day. What works for,
We'll just have to make it work.
How about the 30th, because no one's saying anything, and Mondays are
Right.
Mondays.
Mondays or Mondays?
Tuesday the
And
30th.
so, let's do the 30th.
30th, 6 o'clock.
That's June. Oh, no, that is July. I'm sorry.
I'll have to look. I mean, I can't commit to that one way or the other. I mean, the 30th, potentially 31st, definitely not.
You said
Either the
6.
29th or the 30th would work the best.
Pardon me?
You said 6 p.m.
Yes, I don't like myself at 6 in the morning.
Jerry, what works better?
No,
for
no.
you, 29th or 30th?
I'd say right now the 29th, but I'm not sure what all is going on the 30th.
What about the week before there, Jerry? Would that be a better week for you? Maybe doing like the 25th? Like, no, we can't do that. The times, same
You
times.
can, if I
That's
post
fine.
it tomorrow,
August 15th.
I can send it tomorrow to be posted, and I guess because they publish their paper daily.
Let's just
I
do
might
the
not
20.
be here on the 29th.
Let's do the 29th.
29th.
29th, yeah, stick with that.
Special meeting, and the only thing on the agenda will be that. Okay. No public forum, no nothing. We're just going to do that and we're done.
The only thing would be if I send this date to Lloyd Group and they say nobody's available. Then I'll email.
Okay,
But I'll email them tomorrow morning.
fantastic. Okay,
Good with that.
all right. Who's next?
Rhonda or Earl and Mary?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have to vote on that? To have a special meeting?
Nah, we just gotta send out a notice. 3 members have to request it.
Yeah, so there's only,
You know, we don't have a definite date at
Right,
this point
right.
because we don't, so we're.
I'll email, I'll
Okay.
email Lloyd Group in the morning and let you
Thank you
guys
for
know.
keeping us in line, Dan.
I really appreciate that, actually.
I got a question. Is it gonna be posted on the Facebook page? Because the last special meeting you guys had was not posted there. The only way I knew it was gonna occur was because I happened to come up here and pay a bill. And it was on the door.
I think it got posted and it was just late, could be wrong, but
Yeah,
that was my fault. 'Cause
we
I
can, we
filled
can do
in all
our,
the rules.
we can do our best to post, but I think legally we're only required to post it, I think out front, I think, don't quote me on that.
Right, I'm just checking, because a lot of people in town, that's probably why they didn't show up to the last one.
Yeah.
Because they weren't aware of it.
Okay,
Said 6 o'clock potentially.
potentially 6, and, yeah.
Okay, well, I want to get started because I've got a list. It was mentioned earlier in the minutes, we need to pull out those job descriptions, and with the next meeting, we probably need to be working on those between now and then.
Here, this is my official, lovely, what I've come up with for the city clerk.
If you want to put something together and email. it.
Aaron and I joked today that can we just put all requests that come in, all requests on the phone?
I just know, we don't, if we don't
Right,
stay on
Right.
Yes,
target,
next meeting.
these things get lost. So I would ask each of the council members to pull those out, make some notations, add some stuff, work on it.
Do you guys want a copy of what I have so far for city clerk?
Yes.
Okay, because I
Just
can't
email it
guarantee
to
I'll get
us.
anything fancy, but I'll get you some.
I am working on getting the Fisher Memorial Park into the city's name. It's currently in the Canton Historical Society. I've got a little work to do on that, but I kind of, with Morgan's assistance, we found out that taxes weren't being paid on that, and we really don't want to end up losing that in our community. I've talked to the Bernie Rudstrom, it was his father-in-law that donated that, so I've kind of been working on that. And I am painting down there because I thought I was gonna have another snow cone truck down there, but that's not gonna work out, so we'll move on.
It still looks
Okay.
very nice, the paint.
So where are we at on the burn side? We were gonna set up a monthly burn on that,
I told them that it would be recommended that we do it monthly.
okay, and I think
The
we're not
question
doing
you
that.
have, well, the question then you have is, if the wind is over 10 miles an hour, and they call the person, they will not permit burning
But we've had some beautiful days,
some beautiful days.
yeah, so we need to pick up the pace on that.
Danny, is it 10? I thought it was,
It's 15,
okay, I was gonna say, I was thinking less
Actually,
than
18.
14. Oh, okay.
actually 18.
Because I understand it's getting full and we don't want to get this shut down, so.
All we have to do is call up and get a request to burn, correct?
Yeah, just call dispatch, make sure the wind's good, and let them know that there is gonna be a burn there. That way they'll get phone calls and whatnot, and also let the fire department know as well.
Do they have to sit out there and watch it, or they just can light it and go
Initially,
about the day?
so initially, you wanna sit there and watch it as the main pile burns down. But then after that, you can shut the gate and come back periodically just to pile it up. That's how I've done it for the past 2 times I've been out there.
So you're looking at,
You've done it the past 2 times?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that, Danny, with you being on the fire?
As far as what?
Or
Doing
is
it like
the
this
way
doing?
Mark is saying, you think that is good?
I mean, it ain't, with that berm all the way around it, it really isn't going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit on it the whole time, in my opinion.
Right now, it's gotten kind of overwhelming currently because you can barely drive around because everything's been
Yeah, I was out there
falling out.
yesterday.
Yeah, so everything's gonna be piled up. I imagine it'll probably take a couple days for it to burn down again before we have to have fire department come out and cool
Is
it
it,
off.
is it at the point right now where we need to close it again?
Pretty close.
And he's like, no, because I have things to put in it.
Well, I would say that if we have, the conditions are perfect and right, it needs to be addressed as soon as they get this water.
yeah.
So, okay, city attorney, did Reese give you anything as to the deed on the old museum? Was anything done on that yet? I gave them copies of some quitclaim deeds and
Would this involve the name of Thelma Everhart?
Everhart.
Everhart. Yeah, yeah, that was one of Reese's notes, that, so, yeah, what came out is that Thelma, the late Thelma,
Mhm.
has an interest in property that needs to be dealt with in some kind of, hopefully abbreviated probate proceeding. And because the title was in the name of the Friends of Canton, but plus an individual, Thelma Everhart, she's deceased. So the question is, where did her interest go upon her death? So I don't have a note on how long ago she's been.
She's been
It's
deceased.
been a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
I'm sure it went to two boys that are both here locally.
okay, yeah. Well, so with real estate, you just look for the most abbreviated kind of probate proceeding to do. That can be intestate succession, it can be a determination of descent, just a really short proceeding to get the record title and boys' names, if those were her, if she had no will, and those were her heirs.
I'm sure she had a
Well, so a will, though, to be valid, has to be filed with the court within 6 months after death. And if it's not, it's void. So then intestate succession would control.
So what, do we need to get something from the family, or do you need us to ask?
I think Reese is gonna have the punch list, and hopefully it's very short. It's just, so if it's like we've been talking about and title passed to the boys, then there would need to be the shortest route available to get that determination of descent that says the boys now own Thelma's interest in the property, and then if the boys were willing to deed it over,
Sign,
yeah.
okay.
and if they have spouses, their spouses need to sign too. So it's real estate. But I'll follow up with Lisa on that.
Okay, all right. And then I am trying to get a snow cone truck to Canton for Saturday during the fair. I had an issue trying to find shade, water, and electricity. And it was mentioned today that maybe we could use one of the utility poles.
They were talking about a 220 RV
Well,
plug,
Yeah,
50 amp RV plug. and
we
that's
could use just a
specialized,
110,
so,
yeah.
uh,
He could use just a 110, but it was preferred.
Is there anybody that has a generator that would run that 50 amp? I mean, we don't seem to have one in the city. Do you know of anyone, Mark?
What is it?
For Danny.
I need a gas a gas generator to run 50 amp service. They can run on 110. They can probably get away with 30, but
I got 3 generators at home. 2 of them actually connect to each other. I'll have to test to see what that produces.
okay.
So, and they're, yeah, they run RVs.
They
But,
run,
and they also, they're, 2 of them are like the real quiet ones.
yeah, the little Hondas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other option, I talked to Tony Weedle, and he's got supposedly a 220 out there on one of those McManus buildings. The only issue is there's no water hydrant.
How about we use our generator we use to run the wells? I'll get running and burn through the fuel a little bit.
That thing should be run.
Yeah, so I'll put that out there and run that. I mean, that way make sure there's nothing wrong with it and it's getting put to use, so just burning fuel for nothing.
Yeah, I think it should be. You're talking about the one that's in the barn?
Yeah, the big one.
The big one?
Mhm.
It hasn't been fired off for who knows how long.
Yeah, I don't even know last time it was been fired up.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you can park it far enough away, I mean, but it's
Yeah.
something, again, it's
So, because I got
earplugs.
Mary Jane said they've got a 110
outside.
outside. Could we plug it in there?
well, if you're running something that normally requires 50 amps off a 15 amp 110 circuit, that's really kind of stretching.
So
it.
we want to run it off the 220.
I would suggest we use the generator.
Yeah.
That'll get the generator. If we have issues with it, we can get the damn thing fixed. Instead of waiting until we lose power and we have to take it out to
And find that it
the
doesn't.
sewer to use it to run the
But do
pumps,
we
and
need
hey,
to
it doesn't
run it
work.
before we
Oh, we
have
didn't do
this
maintenance
guy
on it for
plug
the
in?
past 6 months.
It's gonna be we're gonna have to have them fire that thing off tomorrow. We need to run.
Yep.
You know,
How much
where we're
water
going
do you
there.
need?
He just said within 100 feet.
Like, how much do you think it's gonna?
Like around garden hose does.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
most of them do.
Yeah.
So if you're close to McManus's, I bet we could talk to Chris. The only thing I would do is just have them read the meter before and read the meter after, so they're
Yeah,
not
and I told
responsible
Tony
for.
we would compensate.
Yeah, but
too,
I'm
but it-
trying to think if there's a hose hookup inside. Maybe towards, there is, in the back,
I was gonna say,
right inside the door, in the back.
there's
You can
one
run a hose through the building and out the front door. There is a hose.
The intent was to try to get it down by the pool, but that's just not happening.
That's just not gonna be visible enough. We've got so much going on at the fire station and the library. That's where all your kids are gonna be.
Yeah, right.
I'd
And
like
then-
it downtown.
Right.
All the
that's
traffic that's gonna drive
Right,
that
right.
main street.
Yeah, fire station.
Well, but I didn't know with the activities going on there, if you'd want,
It wouldn't bother it.
do you have a place to put a snow cone truck?
We should be able to do that.
It's
If
not
that
block
works.
the
There you go.
Okay.
That's
There
fine.
you go.
Yeah.
Water's not a problem there. Yeah.
But to me, that still doesn't take the generator off maintenance.
Right,
window.
right.
No, we still need to.
Well, that would be nice.
I just didn't know if with everything
No,
going
that
on
shouldn't be a
there and. Okay.
That's nice. It's not as far for Danny to walk to. get
Exactly.
to the
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can save up now if you don't.
Don't I get a free one for letting him sit over here?
Yeah, that's next weekend.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
That's nice.
Give him with me. We'll-
And I was gonna
we'll-
ask him if he's not doing anything Friday, if he'd wanna come to town then and just be set up for a couple of days, so, okay. Okay. Thank you.
That's
I
so
can,
nice,
I
thank you.
can pass your information. Can text you his number.
Oh,
Text
okay,
him your number.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Be your liaison.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes, thank you.
Isn't that nice?
You didn't bring that one up today.
Well, you said you didn't think it would, there was too much happening. I literally looked out the window and said, what about you? What about you?
They're shaped right now, right here.
Got more, Rhonda?
Well, I just wanna address cloudy water again.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
I got pictures, people.
where are we going with that?
Nasty.
That is beyond any possible solution that we have at hand. It's gonna take the grants, the wells, the water pipes. It's short of a lot of
It just seems to
purification.
be getting worse. I
Well,
mean,
and the things are deteriorating.
So Austin asked, and I don't know enough about this grant that I made a copy for you. It
Yeah.
came in the mail, so I couldn't forward it by email, but I mean, I could have. Anyway, he asked if we looked into that, if it could be put towards an RO station instead of just
Drilling new wells.
a well, yeah. So,
Well, I would recommend utilization of an RO because the cost would be prohibitive, just maintenance costs.
Maintenance is costly, and the exchange of bad water to good water is extremely high. So without knowing the actual flow of our wells, it could tax our output on our wells. Okay, so it's something we'd have to look into. Because what was it, Earl, a 60-40 exchange?
Just about, yeah.
Well, about 40% bad water to 60% good. So our water usage would just skyrocket.
Is that with current technology and the best they have out there is 60-40?
Yeah, and the maintenance cost is very high.
And in many cases, it's 40-60, depending upon the hardness
Yeah.
of the water.
And talking with the guy from Kansas Rural Water, I think that's who it was, somebody I was talking to, said that Pratt changed out one skid of the RO filters, and that's 50 grand a pop. Okay, so
How often does that change?
they did it every 2 years, so, or maybe it was Austin I was talking to.
they did just look into it, yeah, but they're
Yeah.
still
Looking
considering
into
it.
Okay, so yeah, the maintenance cost is very high. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be hard to justify that. Our rates would have to be astronomical to justify that.
That's exactly, and it was Austin I was talking to, and that's exactly what the town did that he was referring to. And people in the town were not thrilled, but they got good water. So,
You could pay more on your water bill if you didn't have to buy all that softener salt. Just kidding.
Not cheap anymore. And then Scott and Earl and myself are gonna be meeting with Rosemary Saunders. She's our grant writer. We're meeting with her tomorrow morning. There's a grant coming out for the pool, and it might be a deal where we have to go door to door and get yays and nays, but I would definitely ask everybody to vote yay, because we need something for these kids to do, our youth. But there'll be more details about that later, so. And then I'll end with potholes. Need to get them potholes filled,
I'll second that.
so I'll keep pushing. Yep. That's all I have.
It will be getting addressed.
yeah. And I have not heard back from Wilson Dirt Works on a dollar figure for the proposal on the Railroad First Street drainage. And that will be minimal work there, just to get the water out of that intersection and place to drain some water. And then we'll start looking at Second Street and doing some regrind on the existing asphalt and along with that, repairing the base underneath so it's solid. So there's a few things he's looking at doing. I don't have any dollars and cents yet on it, but,
Another one that needs to be addressed is on South Kansas up by Shiloh and the high school.
that
All-
drainage.
That drainage, all
Yeah.
that needs to be done there is a culvert needs to
No,
be
that's
cleaned
pretty
out, that will solve the issue.
Well, that's a maintenance
Oh, it's one of
issue,
you guys,
that's,
right?
that's not a subcontractor issue, so, yeah.
And that will less that.
Okay, I have pictures of it if you need them.
Now, I use it to clean the underside of my car.
Yeah, I taught him that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
Okay.
let Mary's got some stuff.
I have something to read. Okay. I had an individual look at this proposal for the pool and stuff, okay? And this is what I got from this individual, and I'm gonna read you what they said, okay? So it appears that Rhonda reached out to Rosemary Saunders about Ransom Financial about getting a grant for the city pool repair. Rosemary then sent Rhonda to this BG Consultants group. From what I understand, BG Consultants puts a package of information together. Repair options, constructions, options, project scoop for the city pool. She did this because having a project in place helps the likelihood of a grant writer having success. BG Consultants will send that information to Rosemary in hopes that she can write a grant to complete the project they prepared. Grant funds are not coming from BG Consultants from what I can see. They only put a project together. The cost for the work of putting the project together is $7,000 plus any costs that fall outside of the agreement. Unforeseen expenses such as structural repairs, travel expenses, additional contractors, etc. So the $7,000 is the minimum it will cost. It will cost more, no doubt. So let's say the city spends the $7,000 and starts the project. Then it hands it off to Rosemary to find a grant. It is not a given that she will find a grant. Most likely, if she finds anything at all, it will be a matching grant. City will have to put up 50 to 60, 75% just to get a small grant. Again, the initial $7,000 is long gone. Now the grant matching comes into play. If the project costs, let's say, $150,000, which is probably on the cheap side, and the grant is a 50% match, then the city has to pay $7,000 to the consultant plus the $75,000 to match the grant just to begin the project. Sounds like a lot of money for a pool that loses money every year. Just see what it costs to repair it, budget that expense and fix it, and save all the rest. When you get a grant writer and consultants involved, everything gets very expensive. If you pay the $7,000 or $7,000, Rosemary still may not be able to find a grant, then the money is just gone. She warned us earlier in the year that all these grants take matching funds. The city does not have the money to spend. We are basically bleeding all reservoirs with all, with everything else going on, in benefits, wages, etc. Because you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be rude, but this was their opinion. Things to remember. None of the expenses was budgeted in 2023 to be funded in 2024. If the city wants to do this in 2025, then it all needs to be budgeted for in 2024 budget hearing, which happens in October, November. The city doesn't have the room in its budget for that kind of expense, especially since the investment carries a loss on the books every year. Pool normally loses $25,000 a season. Pools do not generate income, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer about this, people. Income, money to enhance pools needs to come from private sources, donations, etc. Minor repairs should be budgeted for and spent going forward. You get a consultant involved like the above, and the cost is going to skyrocket. What is wrong with the current pool? What is the rush to do all this to the pool? Like, again, I'm not trying to be rude, okay?
wouldn't it make more sense to allocate funds, budget them over the next 5 years and hire the repair work done out of that? Not give them money away to consultants. A pool guy will give you an idea on cost to repair whatever they are running into. Win, lose, or draw, if the city signs the agreement, you just spent a minimum of $7,000 not knowing what size of grant is possible or what size of scope they will come back with. The $7K is gone for good. No guarantees on either side. And then this individual said that Rhonda was listed as the guarantor on the contract, primary billing contract, and primary project representative for the city of Canton. This should be the mayor, not a councilman, on this paper right here.
Well, that was only because.
Well, I'm just saying
I
that
visited with
Well,
them, so.
but the thing is, it should be the mayor, not the, and I'm not trying to be
Well,
rude. I'm not trying to be rude
I'm
or
not
anything.
gonna sign it.
You know what I'm saying? So, wouldn't it make more sense, and this is coming from an individual in town here as well,
Well, how did they
Just
know about
to
the
start-
$7,000?
to start about, because that's what it says in the
Oh,
contract.
okay, so.
It is in the contract.
Okay.
I mean, did we not, that's what I mean, you gave this to me
Yeah,
to read, and
right.
I'm gonna go to somebody that I feel is knowledgeable,
Okay.
and that, I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but wouldn't it make more sense right now to put a street project in place? I mean, the city sales tax was put in place to pay for these kinds of expenses in regard to street projects, not the pool project. Also, there's this little thing called water. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be, I just went to somebody that knows about that. That I love the pool. I went there since I love it. But at this point, I feel like we're just focusing on the pool when we've got street repairs and we've got water issues and things like that.
The only reason I'm doing this
You
on
know,
the pool is because there was a grant that's available out there for up to $650 million for a town of our size.
650,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Really?
But my whole point is,
But I'm just,
Right,
that's just
right,
a grant, so
right.
we're just gonna follow.
but I
through.
just, I feel like we need to put the focus on getting streets repaired.
Well,
Things that
find some
people,
grants for that.
you know what I'm saying?
There is focus on street
You know,
repairs, and in the
but-
budget, there's $41,000.
Okay, but
Already
don't you
allocated
take
for-
that 41,000, okay, if you allocated 20 and then 21 or whatever, shouldn't that go towards the loss that the pool is taking? You can't say that if that's the case, you're gonna say, okay, we lost $25,000 last year, but we have $20,000 to spend on the pool. Well, wouldn't that money goes towards the loss of the pool?
That does show the.
You know what I'm
operating
saying?
cost
So
of
why would you say
$41,000.
that we have $41,000 because,
That was carryover
that-
for maintenance and
that-
repairs that were never done to the
you know
pool.
what I'm saying? But
Right.
wouldn't that go towards the loss of the pool? I'm not trying to be rude or
Yeah.
anything, and I'm not trying to say we don't need a pool. But at this point in time, I think we need to be focusing. I mean, this was given to me, and I took it to somebody because I don't know. And this was their knowledge to me. And that's why I read what they said. And like I said, I'm not trying to be rude about
The
it.
only reason I brought this up
So.
is because there was a grant out there. If there's grants out there for street improvements,
But that
lights, water.
doesn't mean she'll be able to get that.
We will
No.
know, we will know more
We're-
about
you know what I'm
that
saying?
tomorrow.
That's why we're just in the
But I-
talking stage. We're
Right,
not
but I-
signing anything.
I guess my point is, we need to be focused, in my opinion, there again, we need to be focusing on the streets that people drive every day. The
Well, we
water that
are.
people consume
We are,
every
we
day.
can chew bubble gum
So
and
I
talk
just-
too.
I just feel like this doesn't take precedent over things like that right now.
Okay.
And it's not that I'm not for it, but I just,
The only reason it
Feel
came
like it
up
needs
is
to be.
because there was a grant out there
Right.
that I found that was available. If I find something on something, I mean.
but is
I'm
that a
gonna push-
guarantee? But is that a guarantee that?
There's never,
Okay.
there's no guarantee on
But the
this
thing
one.
is, I'm just talking about
$1,000 one.
spending money that the
One
city
thing
really
everybody's gotta
doesn't have
think
right
about,
now.
kind of what we're both kind of talking about,
Yeah.
discussing, any grant we apply for, there's gonna be a matching for the city, no matter whether it's $10 million or $1. We're still gonna have to match it for a city, so we need to actually kind of plan for that kind of stuff, where we can use that money for, whether it's on the streets or on the pool. I mean, even to get let's say a grant for $1 million, The city's gonna have to come up with, usually, it's what, 25% minimum match?
I guess what my point was that if we go paying this contractor 7,000 minimum, and that
Right.
doesn't
Oh,
even
yeah,
cover the rest,
100%.
how much money are we going to lose to do all this, when those could have been put in the pool repairs to begin with? That's all I'm saying.
To get
Yeah.
any kind
I
of
mean,
grant,
does that,
to
as
be
far as you,
eligible
as
for
far
any
as
kind
the
of grant, we
lawyer's
have to have an
perspective
engineering
on
study.
it, I mean,
Yeah.
Mark, that's kind of what,
So without that, we're not
Yeah.
eligible for any
Yeah.
grants, so,
Yeah, that's one thing everybody's
But
gonna
it's
discuss.
just something that we're looking at.
right.
It's not a definite, it's not a definite,
We'll know more tomorrow.
yeah.
but I just kind of like, that's all I'm saying.
Yep, so your opinion, you have every right to that.
So, anyway.
Appreciate the input, actually.
Thank you, you're welcome.
That's it. Anything else, Mary?
No, I'm good.
I'm next.
My printer died, so I had to read it on my phone, that was even worse.
Do we have anything to report here? Or next?
No, I mean, I just think that we need to look into a tech person.
Yeah, we need to do some IT searching.
Switching. Person we have is not sufficient, not like at all, like.
Yeah.
Doesn't come.
Get you in contact with I believe it's Jeff Butler. He works the Person County as their IT.
Is-
And he does really good.
The problem
Does
is,
he do
is
other
we need somebody who
cities?
is familiar with our program to be our IT person.
No.
Well, it would have to check who he does, but I mean, he deals with like everything with the all Smart Cop, all the other programs law enforcement uses, district court. I mean,
I'm just saying, I work at a place in the mornings that anything that somebody puts in on a file in a shared network, I can retrieve that. And I wasted hours the other day looking for something that I was told was there, to come to find out that, no, it's not on this laptop, but it was on her computer in there. So then she has to send it to me in a weird way, so then I.
That's
look at
even
it.
what happened with the agenda. I created the agenda on the desktop.
That shouldn't be that.
And
hard.
I
All
emailed
needs
it
to
from the
happen,
laptop, and it
network
wasn't the
needs
most
to be
recent
set up.
version.
Well, and she was
All it
told,
needs, and that should be minimal.
yeah, and she was told by the lady who
Helps our
Helps.
software.
helps with the software that we should be able to use it on both computers.
However, when
So
that
I'm pretty
computer
sure our-
was purchased, the IT guy couldn't make it happen.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Who's wrong?
Back out there.
But I'm just saying, the person who writes the software and knows the software and says, yes, other communities have it on 2 computers and they can do it, I'm gonna go with her than a guy who probably can't figure it out.
That's
So,
exactly what we need.
It's
IT
just,
guy. Yeah.
it would make it a lot.
Well, that's like
more
even the email problem that we're having with that software.
Yeah.
When I contacted HCI's tech support person, they basically just said, look for this button. But they're not our IT support, and our IT support asked me about it and then was confused.
And we can get you information, but I would like it, if we got you information, then like, we could move on that, so then it could just make it a lot, not even easier, just sufficient, like, not time
Simple
wasted
things, yeah.
sometimes when, besides that, I'll think of something tomorrow when nobody's here.
I got another thing I'll kind of add to what Ron was saying about partisan job descriptions. We need to come up with kind of a vacation policy or time off policy for the part-time clerks and that kind of stuff. That needs to, we discussed that the last time. We need to basically add that to the job description also for the part-time.
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Earl.
I don't know of anything, I think that's it.
Okay, that's it. I'm done.
You done?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I came in late for the public forum. From the Canton Lions Club, thank you for allowing us to have the city of Canton to light off on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th. That's right, yes, it was those days. We'll probably request those days again for next year, just to forewarn, we did very well. Not as well as we've done in the past, but we did very well. I just want to thank you.
I'm gonna add really fast to your thing, just because you said that, but we just changed it in the last meeting, that it will be 2 days before and 1 day after the 4th.
Okay.
It's
That-
baked
just
into
letting
the
you know
code
that's
now.
how,
Okay.
Okay.
so, it's just how,
It's there,
All right.
okay?
Thank you.
in the ordinance, that's what, the ordinance is.
Do I move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, sure. You were talking to me years away.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. You are giving. Nice to meet you too.
Sit down too. I'm gonna go feed.
Oh, you ain't that old.
Huh?
You ain't that old.
We can sit still.
Mark,
I'll have to.
If I sit still, everything's
Check.
Mark got him.
Okay, did that come
Well,
I know that for you the other day.
yeah.
I don't read that because this.
Giving me a hard time about not coming over, but all the meetings used to be on.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
I think you do there.